He went from being the absolute fattest student in school history at over 400 kilograms to the most handsome guy in his entire class overnight. For his whole life, a genetic curse turned every single calorie he consumed straight into pure fat, no matter how brutally he trained in secret. But when a group of bullies locked him inside a burning gym to get rid of him, they accidentally triggered the ultimate physical awakening. The blazing inferno burned away his curse completely, replacing his massive weight with fire immunity, a blazing hot metabolism, and a shredded supermodel physique. Now he is walking back into his classroom, and he is about to severely traumatize all of his classmates when they realize the hottest guy in school is actually their old giant meat shield. To see how this massive absolute unit survived the flames and broke his curse, we have to go back to a very devastating medical diagnosis. We kick things off with a heavy confession. Our protagonist flat out admits that he is very fat. He's been battling obesity his entire life, and now we're in the head pediatrician's office. His parents are just outside, desperately asking the doctor if their son is actually healthy. The doctor looks like he's having a midlife crisis, just staring at the charts. Meanwhile, the parents keep pressing him, acting like they don't see the elephant, or in this case, the sumo, in the room. Meanwhile, young Shi Tian is in the background living his best life, absolutely crushing a bag of chips. You can practically hear him crunching away while his dad stands there looking like a brick wall. The doctor cautiously asks what the father does for a living, and it turns out the guy is a literal yokozuna. He just finished defeating every single sumo wrestler in Japan to claim the top rank. The dad is dead serious, staring the doctor down with an intense gaze. He's genuinely confused why the doctor thinks his son might have any health issues. The doctor is losing his mind internally, thinking about how obvious it all is. He's literally sweating while the dad just stands there looking like a final boss. Finally, the doctor reaches his breaking point and slams his hand on the desk. He has to get these parents to understand the gravity, pun intended, of the situation. He points out that the kid has literally turned into a ball. He explains that this isn't just a diet thing, it's a massive genetic problem. And while the doctor is trying to explain this genetic problem, the parents are just smiling like proud NPCs. All the while, Shi Tian hasn't stopped eating for a single second. The doctor facepalms, explaining that the kid has an extraordinary metabolism where 100% of everything he eats turns straight to fat. That's a rough build, honestly. The doctor drops the ultimate bomb, saying that in this life, the kid will probably never lose weight. The parents are still just vibing, completely ignoring the professional medical advice. He warns them that if they keep ignoring this, things are going to get dark. He predicts the kid will be bullied and shunned the moment he sets foot in a school. That warning actually hits home for little Shi Tian. He stops mid-crunch, his eyes wide as the reality of being bullied and shunned starts to sink in. The kid looks absolutely terrified, realizing his future might just be one big joke to everyone else. He's having a full-blown existential crisis at 5 years old. Suddenly, something snaps. He crushes the snack bag in his tiny fist with a loud pop. That's the sound of a protagonist reaching his turning point. He declares his new life mission: he will lose weight. At just 5 years old, he's ready to start his training arc. 2 years later, and the training isn't exactly going as planned. He's 7 years old and already 83 kilograms, despite running his heart out while his parents cheer him on with even more snacks. By age 9, the kid is a literal unit on the beach. People are gasping just watching him exist, but he's not letting the stares stop him from hitting the water. He's out here swimming 7 kilometers in 5 hours like a human shark. He's putting in the work, but at 120 kilograms, the weight just refuses to leave. Cut to a high-speed car chase? Nope, that's just Shi Tian's training montage. The kid is moving with so much force he's basically creating his own drift lines. By age 11, he's 180 kilograms and literally running faster than cars while dragging heavy chains behind him. This kid isn't just fat anymore, he's a biological anomaly of pure power. We see him staring longingly at a fast food sign while people enjoy their fried chicken. But Shi Tian is disciplined now, sticking to his diet while looking like a shadow in the night. He's chopping up salad like a master chef. He's given up the junk food, but his body is still playing by its own rules. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, he never stops. He's lifting massive weights and training through every season, but the clock keeps ticking toward the present day. And here we are, in the present. Time to see what all that training actually accomplished. We're at a high school, and someone is busy clicking away on a handheld console. Looks like somebody isn't paying attention in class. The kid is deep into his game, mashing buttons while sitting in the back of the room. He's got that classic cool guy main character look. Suddenly, a paper ball lands on his head. He looks up, clearly annoyed that someone interrupted his gaming session. His classmate is freaking out, asking if he's scared the teacher will catch him. He just scoffs, thinking it's a joke and wondering how she would even find out. He's acting all smug, claiming he's sitting behind the protector of all men. He thinks he's found the ultimate hiding spot. The camera pans back, and yeah, he's not wrong. He's sitting behind Big Daddy Shi Tian, who is now 16 years old and a staggering 420 kilograms. The dude is so massive, he's basically a human wall for the entire back row. Shi Tian's internal monologue continues as we see him literally crushing several chairs under his massive weight. He realizes the doctor was only half right. He might never lose weight, but the part about being bullied was dead wrong. Cut to a physical education class where everyone is getting ready for some shot-put action. The class is buzzing with excitement because the legend himself, Big Tien, has arrived on the scene. Far from being shunned, Shi Tian is the most popular guy in school, treated like a literal deity by his classmates. People are begging him for help with exams, offering him snacks, and just wanting to be in his presence. One fan tries to offer him a candy bar, but Shi Tian isn't tempted by junk food anymore. He firmly refuses, asking for his signature celery and bitter melon juice instead. Now that's a dedicated diet. His loyal subjects are more than happy to oblige, practically bowing as they present his healthy green drink. They're so devoted, it's actually a little bit ridiculous. Even though he's surrounded by people calling him daddy and big brother, Shi Tian still looks incredibly isolated. He treats them as friends, but he realizes they see him as something else entirely, leaving him feeling pretty lonely in a crowd. Suddenly, a high-speed projectile cuts through the air with a massive bam. It's moving way too fast for anyone to react in time. The projectile turns out to be a soccer ball, and it hits Shi Tian right in the side of the head with another bone-rattling impact. The force is so hard it sends his glasses flying. Shi Tian's precious celery juice goes flying everywhere as he stands there, completely stunned by the sudden attack. He looks like he's processing exactly what just happened. We see the culprits, a group of punks with a soccer ball who are clearly looking for trouble. One of them with silver hair is already starting to taunt him. The silver-haired bully stands there looking smug, asking if this big guy is supposed to be the first-grade high school boss. He and his blonde buddy are demanding some money, which is some typical low-tier bully behavior. Shi Tian's face is a mask of pure, unadulterated annoyance as he stares them down. The bullies aren't backing off though, telling him to hand over his cash and stop spacing out. The tension is rising as the bullies get more aggressive, but Shi Tian just stands there with a toothpick in his mouth, looking unimpressed. Behind them, other students are whispering about how these guys are from the boxing club. The bystanders are freaking out, realizing these are the neighborhood's new bullies from the third-grade boxing club. They think it's all over for poor Big Tien. Shi Tian looks down, his face shadowed as he lets out a heavy sigh. He doesn't look scared, he just looks like he's about to do something he'd rather not have to. He starts to turn away, walking with heavy thumps that probably shake the whole field. The bullies think they've won, but they have no idea what's coming. As he walks past the shot put equipment, his massive hand reaches down and grabs one of the iron balls. He doesn't even break stride as he picks it up. Shi Tian takes a moment to aim, his gaze locked onto a target. Even the girl watching looks concerned about what he's planning. He casually says he needs to borrow this as he prepares for the throw. The girl is yelling at him, wondering what on earth he's doing with that heavy metal ball. With a deafening swoosh, he launches the shot put ball with incredible force. It looks more like a cannonball than sporting equipment as it tears through the air. The ball slams into the metal soccer goal net, denting it so badly it gets permanently lodged in the mesh. Apparently, this is how Shi Tian deals with bullies. He just shows them what absolute power looks like. The reaction faces are absolutely priceless. Both bullies and the girl are standing there with their jaws on the floor, completely terrified by that display of strength. Shi Tian isn't done yet. He turns back toward them with a glowing red eye, holding another shot put ball. He looks like a literal demon of destruction right now. That's all the bullies needed to see as they hightail it out of there in a panic. They yell some empty threat about coming back, but you can tell they're shaking in their boots. His fans immediately start worshiping him again, cheering for their daddy as he walks away. He thinks to himself that despite everything, overall, he's invincible. But that feeling of loneliness returns just as quickly. He's still the lonely giant, stuck in a world that only sees his exterior. We get a close-up of his massive torso as he walks, reminding us of the physical burden he carries every single day. The final word on his mind is simple but crushing and fat. No matter how strong he is, that's how he still sees himself. Cut to later that day outside a large building. We can hear someone panting, clearly exhausted from running. It's our two bullies, hiding inside by the emergency exit. They're both drenched in sweat, and the silver-haired one is screaming about how humiliating the whole thing was. The blonde bully is having a full-blown meltdown, wondering how anyone can even be that strong. He calls Shi Tian a literal tank and questions if he's even human. Despite the fear, the blonde guy isn't ready to give up yet. He's already plotting, saying it's not like there isn't any way to get revenge. As night falls over the city, their plan starts to take shape. They're determined to get their payback under the cover of darkness. Deep inside a gym, we hear repetitive, heavy thumping sounds. Someone is putting in some serious work after hours. The sounds continue, echoing through the empty building. It's clear that whoever is in there is incredibly focused on their training. It's Shi Tian. He's working out like an absolute beast, stomping and clanking weights with an intensity that's actually terrifying. He looks like he's on a whole other level. Outside the door, the blonde bully is spying on him, completely stunned by what he's hearing. Those thumping sounds are hitting him right in the soul. He peeks through the window, sweating as he watches the spectacle. He can't believe what he's seeing and keeps asking himself what this guy is doing. He realizes that Shitian comes here every single day to exercise until the gym closes. At this hour, there shouldn't be anyone else crazy enough to be training this hard. The bully is paralyzed with fear, realizing that Shitian is already incredibly strong but still trains in secret. He starts to panic, thinking to himself that this guy isn't just training to be fit, he's training to kill. The two bullies are stewing in their defeat. The silver-haired one is sweating, realizing if they mess with Shitian again, they might not get away so easy next time, but he still wants some petty revenge. They're outside the gym, and the blonde sidekick is already losing his nerve, asking if he can quit. His big brother isn't hearing it though. Revenge is a dish best served with property damage. We see a bag full of tools, locks, super glue, and some other nasty stuff. They aren't planning a fair fight, they're planning a trap. They go on a clicking spree, wrapping heavy chains around every door and window. They're sealing him inside like he's some kind of contained SCP. The blonde guy finishes locking the main entrance, sealing it tight. They've successfully turned a public gym into a high-security prison for one. The silver-haired bully coolly flicks a lighter and tosses something lit toward the building. These guys aren't just bullies, they're literal arsonists. The lit object hits a trail of flammable liquid and starts to roll and flare up. The dark deed is done. Inside, the lit match is just a tiny spark on the floor, but it's enough to start a disaster. The heavy banging outside was just the sound of the doors being locked tight. A few minutes later, Shitian is walking across the gym floor with heavy steps before suddenly stopping. He's got that main character intuition that something is off. He glances around, noticing his gear and a scale sitting in the corner. He's about to start his most complicated weigh-in yet. He pulls a folded-up kiddie pool out of his bag. I guess when regular scales can't handle you, you have to get creative with physics. He takes a massive inhale and blows air into the pool, inflating the whole thing in one go. After that, he fills it with water with a loud splash. Time for a history lesson as he drags a wooden platform over. He's actually using an ancient Chinese method used to weigh elephants, which is a bit of a self-burn, but hey, it works. He carefully climbs onto the platform in the pool. It's all about buoyancy now. He's literally using the Archimedes principle on himself. He uses a cutter to mark the water level on the side of the pool while he's floating. This is some high-level nerd stuff for a guy who just wants to lose weight. Now for part 2, he gets out and starts filling the platform with heavy blue weights. He's going to see exactly how much metal it takes to reach that same mark. He keeps piling on the weights, one by one. The goal is to match the water level precisely so he can calculate his total mass. He moves the weights over to a standard scale to get the final tally. He's doing the math, and he doesn't look like he's going to like the result. He's crouched down, dripping wet and exhausted, staring at the scale. The moment of truth is here. He looks at the gauge as it makes a final plink sound. The needle isn't moving in the direction he wants it to. He stands there dejected as the text looms over him about how Cao Chong weighs an elephant. He really does feel like a massive failure right now. The math is brutal. 200 plus 200 plus 21. That's 421 kilograms. The needle hits the mark with a final sound. He starts bawling his eyes out, crying that he gained another kilogram. All that training, all that celery juice, and he's still gaining. Talk about a cursed metabolism. While he's sobbing over his weight, the entire gym is starting to glow orange. He's so focused on his sorrow, he doesn't even notice the building is literally on fire. The fire is spreading fast, engulfing the whole area in a dangerous red haze. This isn't just a small kitchen fire anymore. He finally sniffs the air, looking confused. The smell of smoke is starting to get through to him. His eyes go wide as he realizes the danger. The heat is becoming unbearable, and the sobbing is over. It's survival mode now. The entire floor is a sea of flames. He's standing there in shock, wondering if that's real fire. Yeah, buddy, and it's not for a BBQ. He panics and dumps the leftover kiddie pool water all over himself with a splash. He knows he needs to find a way out, and he needs to do it now. He charges toward the exit and hits it with a massive bang, but the door won't budge. He's trapped in a literal oven. He keeps banging on the door with everything he's got, but those chains the bullies put up are holding firm. The light from the fire is blinding. We see a montage of him desperately hitting walls and doors, screaming while the whole building shakes. It's starting to look like a death trap. The structural beams are snapping with loud bangs and the ceiling is beginning to crumble. He's running out of air and time. He throws himself at another wall, screaming in pure desperation. The smoke is filling his lungs and the heat is scorching his skin. Finally, he collapses as the building starts to come down around him. He's on his knees, gasping for air as the world turns white. In a moment of pure terror, we see his face close up, covered in sweat and soot. He asks himself if he's going to die as the final embers fly around him. His hand reaches out feebly into the smoke, a final desperate gesture for help that isn't coming. It looks like the end for Big Tien. We see the city skyline with the gym building turned into a towering pillar of fire. A mysterious voice echoes, saying, "No, you won't." Suddenly, a hand bursts through the rubble and ash. He's alive. He clawed his way out of a literal inferno. He explodes out of the debris with a massive scream, completely naked but fundamentally changed. The heat of the fire seems to have burned away more than just the building. He stands there, reborn in the sunlight. He looks down at his hands and realizes he's slim. Looking into a shard of glass, he sees a handsome stranger staring back. He whispers that he's still alive, as the training arc of his life finally pays off in the most insane way possible. Shitian slowly opens his eyes to a brand new world, and his face is completely unrecognizable. He looks like a top-tier model with intense eyes as he mutters a good morning to himself. He stands amidst the smoking gym wreckage, sunlight filtering through the holes in the roof. He's still disoriented, thinking he sees someone else in the rubble and calling out for a brother. He spots his reflection in a large standing shard of glass and doesn't even realize he's looking at a mirror. He genuinely asks the stranger if they were also trapped inside by the fire. Frustrated that the other guy isn't answering, he leans in close, showing off his new sharp jawline and handsome features. He yells at the glass, demanding that the reflection say something. He starts banging on the glass with both hands, totally losing his cool in his confusion. He's standing there completely naked in a disaster zone, and he's the only one who doesn't realize he's the hunk of the year. He grips the edges of the broken glass, and his hands are covered in blood from the sharp shards. The physical pain finally starts to pull him back from his daze. He looks down at his blood-stained hands and then back at the glass with wide, shocked eyes. The gears are finally turning as he stares into the face in the mirror. The realization hits him like a freight train. That handsome dude is actually him. He can't even help himself, straight up thinking that the guy is really handsome. We get a booming reveal showing the old 421-kilogram Shitian next to his new, shredded self. It's the ultimate transformation, and he's finally seeing the literal fruits of all that hidden training. Outside, the real world is catching up as fire trucks and police cars swarm the scene. The sound of sirens is everywhere, and he's about to have a very public debut. He looks around the ruins, finally realizing how awkward his situation is. Standing naked in a burnt-down gym isn't exactly the cool hero's entrance he might have wanted. Panic sets in as he realizes he needs to bail before he gets arrested for public exposure. He's frantically looking around for anything to wear, knowing he can't be seen like this. He spots some bright red banners hanging among the debris with slogans about youth and spirit. To anyone else, it's trash, but to him, it's a DIY outfit. He stares at the Encourage show banners with a plan forming in his head. If he can't find clothes, he'll just have to improvise with some high-fashion banners. We get a close-up on his determined face as he prepares to make a run for it. He's gone from a suicidal training session to a survivalist fashion designer in 5 minutes flat. We cut away to Dongshan City, specifically the busy pedestrian zone of Nanjing Road. It's a sunny, normal day for everyone else, completely unaware of the chaos about to sprint their way. The city skyscrapers look majestic under the bright sun as people go about their business. It's the perfect backdrop for what's about to be a very weird public sighting. The pedestrian square is packed with people enjoying their day. Little do they know, a legend is currently charging straight toward them. A massive whoosh cuts through the crowd as a blur of red and skin streaks past. 2 girls are left stunned, with one of them literally dropping her ice cream in shock. The ice cream splats on the ground as the girls watch the mystery man disappear into the distance. Below them, a group of dancers is performing in the square, totally unaware of the speedster. The dancers are doing a full fan routine to the song Little Apple, looking totally into it. Meanwhile, the girls in the background are already falling in love with the flash that just zoomed by. Another swoosh as Shi Tian tears through the square, wearing nothing but those red banners wrapped around his waist. He's moving so fast the dancers don't even know what's happening. He's just a blur of red fabric and lean muscle. The lyrics on the screen about fire are way more literal than anyone intended. The crowd is going wild, with some guys literally having hard eyes and shouting about fire. He's accidentally become a viral sensation in about 3 seconds. Inside a nearby car, a businessman is yelling into his phone about updating a project called Good Guy vs. Calories. Talk about ironic timing with the now slim Shi Tian running right past his window. The driver is so distracted by the blur of a naked guy in red banners that he completely loses focus on the road. A massive accident is about to happen as he stares out the side window. The car crashes into something, and the poor guy is just sobbing over the steering wheel. He's totally devastated by the sudden wreck. He has a complete existential crisis, muttering that money and manhua don't matter anymore. He's officially given up on life after seeing that red-bannered legend run by. The narrator is hyping this up big time, calling what we're seeing the highest level of attractiveness among men. Shi Tian is still sprinting through the city streets, looking like he just walked off a high-fashion runway. He's surrounded by a literal pink aura of sparkles as he runs, turning heads everywhere. It's like he's got a permanent main character filter on now that the weight is gone. A group of girls is just standing there, completely mesmerized and blushing as the red banner hunk zooms past them. They're absolutely smitten, even if he is mostly wearing gym decorations. The The girls are losing it, shouting out pickup lines and asking for his WeChat like he's some superstar. One is even calling him a pervert, but in a totally flirtatious way because, well, look at him. Shitian finally hits a wall of embarrassment, covering his face as he realizes just how much attention he's attracting. He's blushing harder than the girls, thinking about how awkward this whole running in banners thing is. We get a quick flashback to the Big Tien days, where he was also worshipped, but for very different reasons. Back then, guys were treating him like a protective deity, begging for protection or help with exams. The contrast is hilarious, seeing the old Shitian surrounded by chibi-fied dudes offering him snacks and money. It felt so familiar, yet so completely different from the thirsty attention he's getting now. Back in the present, Shitian has managed to sneak back home and is panting with a tired expression. He's leaning against a door, looking totally drained after his public debut and high-speed escape. As he recovers, he realizes that more people are probably coming his way and it's time to dash again. He looks out with a sharp, determined gaze, his new handsome features still catching him off guard. Suddenly, a massive rumble comes from his midsection as his stomach demands payment for all that running. He's wide-eyed, shocked at just how intense his hunger is getting. We get a close-up of his shredded abs as his stomach rumbles again with a loud sound. His metabolism isn't messing around, he's really hungry, and his body is letting him know. Cut to the school faculty lounge where a teacher is staring at a computer screen in disbelief. He's completely shocked that the reliable Shitian is actually taking a day off. The teacher is losing his mind, shouting about how he can't believe Shitian is sick. He's sweating buckets, unable to fathom that a human tank like him could actually fall victim to a virus. He's typing away frantically, wondering if a virus capable of taking down a man like that even exists. He looks genuinely terrified, like he's uncovered some global conspiracy. The dude is full-on clacking away on Google, searching for things like biohazard T-virus. He's even asking himself if humans are about to go extinct just because one big student caught a cold. We transition to a quiet house where a laptop is open on a desk. Someone is doing some very specific searching that has nothing to do with global extinctions. The search results are all about rapid weight loss and its causes. It looks like Shitian is trying to make sense of his own supernatural transformation. Then he switches gears, watching a survival idol show where a group of boys is greeting the producers. He's sitting on the floor, mesmerized by the glitzy world of pop stars. The idol on screen is striking a pose, looking all flashy and inviting. Shitian is watching with wide eyes, clearly inspired by the trainee energy. The idol shouts for them to pick him while striking another pose, and the background is full of sparkle effects. Shitian is taking notes, probably thinking he can pull off those moves too. Shitian is now standing up in his living room, wearing a sweatshirt and shorts, ready to test out his new body. He's staring at the laptop, waiting for the beat to drop. He starts following the dance routine, matching the idol's pose with his own hands-on hip stance. He's actually looking pretty graceful for a guy who was a ball just yesterday. The music is pumping as he gets into the rhythm, singing along about having his dreams ready. He's doing a wide leg stance, perfectly mirroring the blue-haired idol on the screen. He's totally in the zone, moving with a fluid motion as the lyrics talk about the music going around. His agility is through the roof now that he's not carrying 400 extra kilograms. The dance montage continues as he mimics a white-haired idol's pose. He's got the arm extensions and everything down, looking more like a trainee himself every second. Check out those moves. He goes into a one-handed spin on the floor, his legs a blur. The kid's got serious talent and the strength to back it up. He keeps the momentum going, following a pink-haired idol's dramatic hand-over-eyes pose. He's completely committed to the spirit of youth performance. More spinning and striking poses as he nails the complex footwork. He's even adding his own flair with some smooth energy as he transitions between moves. He finishes the routine with a final dramatic pose, his hand held near his face. He's panting slightly but looks incredibly satisfied with his performance. The song ends and he's left breathing hard, shocked that it's already over. He's amazed that he can actually pull off any dance move with such ease now. He stands there in his new clothes, reflecting on how light his body feels and how tight his skin is. He's looking at himself with a newfound confidence, realizing he's attractive even compared to idol groups. He thinks to himself that this is what he looks like. He's staring at his reflection, still trying to wrap his head around the handsome stranger in the mirror. He's gone from Yokozuna tier to K-pop star tier overnight. We get a full-body view of him in his new gear, a trendy oversized sweatshirt and red shorts. He looks completely different, a total transformation from the Shitian we knew. We get a close-up on his eye, still reflecting a bit of disbelief as he asks himself if this is a dream. He's lived his whole life as a giant, so this new reality feels almost impossible. But the feeling of his own skin and the lightness of his limbs are telling him it's real. He lets out a small smile, the joy finally starting to overflow. He breaks into a huge, happy laugh, shouting that this is him. The triumph is short-lived though, as a monstrous growl erupts from his stomach again. His stomach is rumbling like a construction site, and his expression quickly shifts to one of desperate hunger. He's clutching his midsection, realizing the cost of his new look. He thinks about how hungry he is, looking down at a massive pile of empty bowls, boxes, and food wrappers on the floor. He's been eating like a literal monster, and he still needs more. We get an overhead view of his room, which is absolutely trashed with food waste. He realizes with a shock that this was his 5th meal of the day, and he's still starving. A dark internal monologue starts, with him admitting he was too happy to notice the downside back then. The black and red background sets a pretty ominous tone for his revelation. He thinks about how terrifying this actually was. The weight loss didn't fix his genetic problem, it just changed how it looked. We see the full extent of the mess in his room, now colored in a haunting purple. His metabolism is a bottomless pit, and keeping this new body might be more expensive than he ever imagined. We're heading to Dongshan City's 6th People's Hospital. Looks like Shi Tian is taking that medical checkup seriously after his insane transformation. We find our way to the chief physician's office, specifically Dr. Mao's room. This guy is supposed to be one of the best in the business. The walls are plastered with plaques praising Dr. Mao for his exceptional medical skills and heart of gold. No pressure for a normal checkup, right? Shi Tian bursts through the door with a loud bam and startles the doctor. He's looking for answers, and he's looking for them now. Dr. Mao is looking back and forth between a photo of the 420-kilogram Shi Tian and the shredded model standing before him. Shi Tian just gives a simple yay to confirm it's actually him. Dr. Mao's face goes completely dark as he processes this medical impossibility. He's staring Shi Tian down like he's looking at a literal ghost. The doctor points an accusing finger, still in disbelief, while Shi Tian just stands there looking confused. He calls him kid, clearly about to question reality itself. Dr. Mao is sweating bullets, thinking this kid came here just to challenge everything he knows about medicine. He finally sighs and tells him they need to start with a full body checkup. The montage begins, and poor Shi Tian is poked and prodded by various nurses. They're checking everything from his weight to his blood pressure in record time. We see him getting measured and scanned as the clocks in the background show the hours ticking by. He's being a good sport about it, even if he looks a bit bored. 2 hours later, and he's finally coming out of the MRI machine. This has been one heck of an afternoon at the hospital for our new hunk. Dr. Mao was hunched over the medical reports, sweating like he's just run a marathon. He keeps muttering that it's unbelievable as he flips through the pages with shaky hands. He's looking at the chemical levels, and everything is perfectly in line with the reference ranges. No high cholesterol, no low blood sugar, absolutely nothing is out of place. The doctor is shouting now, pointing out that there isn't a single arrow indicating anything is out of whack. It's like the kid has the biological stats of a perfectly balanced RPG character. We get an intense close-up of his eye as he realizes the magnitude of this. Every single statistic is exactly at the median, the absolute middle of the healthy range. The word median echoes as the doctor loses his mind. Being this average in every category is actually statistically impossible for a human being. Dr. Mao finally admits the truth. Shi Tian is healthy. In fact, he's so healthy it's unreal, even to a veteran doctor with 40 years of medical experience. Shi Tian is just confused, asking if that's a good thing or a bad thing. He explains that since the fire, he's lost a ton of weight and has this insane, constant craving for food that won't stop. He's feeling totally ripped off after spending nearly $4,000 just to be told he's fine. Dr. Mao is equally frustrated, feeling like his decades of medical experience have just been invalidated. Defeated, Dr. Mao offers some Chinese medicine just to give him something for the road. Half an hour later, Shi Tian is back on the street still looking for real answers. He's standing at a busy intersection in front of the hospital feeling totally lost. He feels like the whole checkup was a total waste of time and money. He's walking through the city, thinking to himself that something definitely changed that night he was burnt. Even if the doctors can't see it, he knows he's not the same person anymore. He suddenly senses something and stops dead in his tracks. His eyes go wide as he picks up a scent that triggers something deep and primal inside him. Nearby, 2 girls are totally fangirling over him, blushing because they think he's looking their way. One of them is holding a delicious-looking wrap, and that's the real target for our hungry hero. The girls are freaking out, convinced that this really hot guy is checking them out. Little do they know, he's not interested in their hearts, just their snacks. We get a close-up on that wrap as it glows like a holy relic. It looks glorious, and Shi Tian's mouth is literally watering just staring at it. He's drooling like a hungry puppy, feeling a literal black hole where his stomach used to be. The hunger is starting to completely override his logic and common sense. The black hole in his stomach is all he can think about now. It's a bottomless pit of intense craving that nothing in this world seems to satisfy. He starts sprinting through the city, and everywhere he looks, all he sees is food. Signs, banners, stalls. It's all a blur of delicious, agonizing temptation. He's running as fast as he can, feeling like his stomach is starting to digest itself from the inside. He's terrified that if his drool doesn't stop overflowing, he might actually lose his mind. The hunger turns into a dark, swirling madness as he clutches his head. He's haunted by images of hot pot and culinary shows, even thinking that if this keeps up, he'll turn into a cannibal. We find ourselves in front of a fast food restaurant. Shi Tian is about to take his hunger out on some unsuspecting food. The poor cashier is just trying to do her job, greeting customers with a smile. She has no idea she's about to be hit with an order that would feed an army. Shi Tian slams his hands on the counter with a massive impact, making the poor girl jump. She's blushing, thinking this handsome guy is doing a kabadon move on her. He's panting and staring her down with intense, hungry eyes. She's totally swooning, but he's just focused on the menu behind her. He starts rattling off his order: chicken tenders, taco french fries, or Lion Wong burgers, and he wants 2 servings of each. He's basically ordering the entire menu. We see him hitting up another joint, presumably for round 2. He's on a citywide food crawl to satisfy that bottomless pit in his stomach. He hits another place, slamming the counter again and demanding 2 servings each of cheeseburgers, McChicken, and fish sandwiches. The list just keeps going. The employees are all in total shock. He's already halfway through a burger at the table, taking a massive bite. He's rattling off a list of pizzas like a fast-forwarded commercial. He chomps down on another burger as he lists off big peppered combos and Texas smoked burgers. He looks like he's in a food-induced trance. He's outside another place, and he's still going. He's like a human vacuum cleaner for everything deep-fried and high-calorie. With a piece of food still in his mouth, he declares his ultimate goal. He wants it all. He's officially lost all self-control. Cut to later back at his house. The sun is shining, but the atmosphere inside is probably anything but peaceful after that binge. He's got a mountain of takeout boxes on the table. He breathes a sigh of relief, thinking he's finally done. He stands there looking at a literal tower of empty boxes and wrappers. He says he's full, but the dark background makes it feel like more of an observation than a feeling. He starts to drift into a memory, looking off into the distance. All this junk food is bringing back some core memories from his childhood. We flash back to little Shi Tian chomping on a burger with pure joy. His eyes are wide with that innocent first-time food excitement. His mom is smiling warmly as she watches him eat, saying that as long as he is happy, that's what matters. She was clearly just happy to see her son enjoying life. We see his dad standing there, looking like a giant wall of muscle. He's watching his son with a stoic but presumably proud expression. The dad reaches down and pats his son on the head. He's about to give some advice that's going to stick with the boy for a long time. We see the dad from a low angle, emphasizing his massive size. He tells the boy he has to remember the name of what he's eating. The final word hangs in the air: junk food. It was a simple lesson from a simpler time. Back in the present, Shi Tian is crying as he remembers that he ate vegan food for 10 years in order to lose weight. He's grieving the decade of delicious grease he missed out on. We see a sequence of his younger self growing up, looking sad and dejected. The weight gain and the strict diet really took a toll on him. A teary-eyed younger Shi Tian looks up with a smile as the text says he missed them. He's finally reunited with the food he loves. He's surrounded by visions of flying burgers, pizzas, and fries. He's truly in his element now, even if it is a bit of a literal fever dream. He's full-on sobbing with joy, looking like he's finally found peace in a greasy bag of takeout. It's a pretty dramatic reaction to some fast food, honestly. We see a text box saying a while later, time to see if he's actually satisfied now. He's sitting on the floor, surrounded by bags from almost every specialty store in the city. He's already full, but he bought enough for later, just in case. He looks at his stash, thinking he probably has enough to last based on his appetite from earlier. He's planning ahead for the next wave of hunger. We see a tiny chibi Shi Tian counting something, maybe his remaining money or his boxes. It's a cute break from the drama of his eating spree. He realizes with a shock that he only has enough for one day. His metabolism is so high that he's going to have to do this every single day. His face is pale as the reality sinks in. He's going to spend his entire life and all his money just trying to stay fed. He stands there dejected, looking like a zombie. He mutters about what an irony this is as he contemplates his new, expensive life. He sits down at the table, looking at some packets of Chinese medicine. He's realized he needs another way to deal with this hunger before it ruins him. He starts pouring the medicine into a glass jug. He's hoping this unproven stuff might actually provide some relief where fast food failed. He thinks about how he was too afraid to eat anything when he was fat. Now that he's skinny, his appetite has increased nearly 20 times. Life really is unfair. He looks at the jug of medicine, his only hope to relieve the constant hunger. He's desperate enough to try anything at this point. The medicine starts to bubble and hoot in the jug. He's waiting for it to be ready, but suddenly he shouts that it's so hot. He accidentally spills the boiling medicine all over himself. He's screaming in pain as the liquid splashes onto his skin. He's on the floor, groaning in agony as the liquid pools around him. This went from a medicinal experiment to a home accident real quick. He suddenly stops, his eyes widening in realization. Something isn't right about what just happened. He thinks to himself to wait as a realization hits him. He only let go of the jug because he heard the water boiling. He looks down at his soaked body, but he doesn't feel any heat at all. He realizes with a shock that he didn't even put the jug on a stove yet. How did the water boil? Something very supernatural is definitely going on with his body. Shi Tian stares at his hand in total shock. It just clicked. The only thing that could have boiled that water was his own touch. He grabs a thermometer to test his theory. He looks like he's seeing a ghost as he holds it up and prepares to check his own temperature. He jumps back as the device practically explodes with a bam. He can't believe the insane readings he's seeing on the screen. It's a barbecue thermometer, and it's screaming with another loud alert as it tries to process the extreme heat coming off his body. The device beeps loudly in his hand, giving off a final alert. He's staring at it with wide, fearful eyes, absolutely stunned by the result. The reading is 230 degrees Celsius. That's literal oven temperature. He spent 3 days in isolation just to figure out the crazy things happening to his body. After 3 days of self-testing, he finally gets it. His body has undergone 3 major, impossible changes that defy all medical logic. First up, his height. He went from a staggering 220 centimeters giant down to a more manageable, yet still tall 187 centimeters as he checks himself in the mirror. Change number 2 is the big one. His weight plummeted from 480 kilograms all the way down to a lean 62 kilograms, confirmed by his digital scale. And his appetite? It's literally 20 times bigger than it used to be. He's out here eating entire buffets just to keep his energy levels up. Lastly, his basal metabolic rate didn't actually increase, but his hands turn into literal heaters after he eats. He's raiding the fridge while trying to understand the scorching heat. He grabs an egg and it starts to sizzle in his palm before cracking from the intense heat. His hands generate uncontrollable energy to burn off all those calories instantly. He takes it a step further and sticks his hand right into a blue gas stove flame. He doesn't even flinch. His whole body is now completely immune to heat. He looks into the distance with a serious expression, confirming his new superpower. Fire can't touch him anymore, which is pretty handy given how he got here. His phone suddenly dings with a notification on the table. He looks over, and his cool demeanor immediately vanishes into concern. Check out that bank balance, 3 cents. With a monthly payment of over $8,000 due, he realizes being a hunk is very high maintenance. Fast forward 1 week, and it's finally time for his big return to school. The campus is buzzing with activity as the students gather for the day. Students are hanging out and chatting in the hallway, totally unaware that their world is about to be rocked. The energy is high as everyone waits for class. Some guys are gossiping about Big Tian, hearing rumors that he's in the hospital with severe burns after the gym fire. They have no idea he's about to walk right through those doors. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light catches everyone's attention. It's like a supermodel just stepped into the hallway, leaving everyone starstruck. One student is leaning over the balcony, pining for Big Daddy Shi Tian, who's been missing for over a week. He's clearly missed the heart of the school. He spots a stranger approaching and his bottle drops in pure shock. He has no idea who this handsome guy walking toward them is. Shi Tian makes his grand entrance, literally glowing and surrounded by sparkles. He gives a casual wave to his classmates, looking like the new king of the school. He's got that smug protagonist smirk as he watches everyone's stunned reactions. He thinks to himself that he knew this would happen. The girls are absolutely losing it, with some practically fainting on the spot. They're calling him so handsome while the guys are just standing there dumbfounded. He's bewitching the girls and leaving the men in the dust with his model-tier looks. He's really leaning into his new status as he walks past the mortals. He looks at a group of students with a look of pure superiority. He's basically calling them all peasants in his head while glowing with confidence. The boys finally snap out of it and demand to know who he is. They don't have a single clue that this is the same guy who protected them just last week. His cool guy act crumbles instantly into a hilarious chibi rage. He's shouting because literally nobody in the school recognized him. He's on the verge of tears, feeling a massive sense of defeat. He spent years wanting to show off his transformation, and now he's a total stranger to everyone. A girl stops him, looking like she's finally put 2 and 2 together. He looks back at her, hopeful that at least one person finally remembers who he is. She asks if he could be him, looking deep into his eyes while blushing. The tension is real as she prepares to name the guy of her dreams. And then she drops the bomb, the guy from her dream last night. Shi Tian's face goes completely dark with pure disappointment. He's reaching his breaking point, with shadowed eyes and veins popping from frustration. He can only take so much of this dream guy nonsense before he explodes. He finally snaps and screams at the top of his lungs that he can't take it anymore. He is Shi Tian. The whole school definitely heard that declaration. The reaction is legendary. Every student in the hallway is absolutely stunned, their eyes bulging out. They look like they've just seen a ghost or heard a terrifying horror story. To prove it's him, he starts airmailing everyone's dirtiest secrets in front of the whole crowd. He calls out Wang Tukua for being a total wimp who used to get bullied until Shi Tian stepped in. Next target, Lu Xiaoyi. He exposes how Lu used cheats at an internet cafe and got chased by 17 huge guys until he was saved by Big Tian. He doesn't stop there. reminding Zhao Shito about the time he literally peed his pants during a robbery. He's dismantling everyone's dignity one by one to prove his identity. He even brings up someone buying a maid costume and someone else owing him 3 cups of bitter melon juice. The boys are crying and begging him to stop talking. The mortal men are completely broken, admitting that this is Daddy Shitian without a doubt. He successfully traumatized his entire former fan club. Meanwhile, the girls are swooning even harder, loving that he's exposing the boys' flaws. They're convinced he just went in for some extreme liposuction and came out a god. Shitian's return to school is basically a red carpet event. He's walking through the halls with a literal army of girls trailing behind him, while the boys are in the foreground, weeping because their monopoly on female attention just went up in smoke. In the classroom, the teacher introduces him as a medical miracle. He tells the class that Shitian is back after a fire, liposuction, and skin grafts, which is a pretty wild way to explain away his transformation. The boys' club is back in action, immediately shouting for their big daddy with a desk shove that probably rattled the floor. The girls are still in a trance, hearts for eyes and everything. Our guy takes his seat, looking like he's about to drop the hottest album of the year. He's got that cool, effortless vibe that has everyone in the room looking at him like he's a god. The teacher tries to get back to business, tapping his desk and saying they'll start the lesson now. Everyone's supposed to be focused, but we know that never lasts in this class. Cut to our resident gamer in the back, letting out a smug huff. He's got that look on his face like he's about to pull off the ultimate prank. With a clatter, this absolute legend literally sets up a massive flat-screen TV right on his desk. He's not even trying to hide it at this point. He's hunched over his controller, focused and ready. He thinks he's got the ultimate stealth setup, but we can all see where this is going. The game is on. We get a view of his screen showing some high-intensity action. He's got the red controller gripped tight, completely ignoring whatever the teacher is saying. Suddenly, a literal ballerina appears on a desk. She's stepping up and performing a full routine in the middle of class. This back row is completely unhinged. It's a montage of classroom chaos. One kid is feeding a cat, someone else is holding a tree, and another guy is sleeping across 3 desks. One kid is even shouting that he is Gundam while striking a pose. The whole back row is a literal circus. Dancing, sleeping, gardening, you name it, they're doing it. It's like a lawless wasteland back there. Our gamer is just vibing, completely in the zone with his music and his game. He looks like the happiest guy on earth right now. With a smack, the class president hits him with a paper ball, and she is not happy. She's yelling at him to pay attention before he gets caught, but he's just not hearing it. She's practically steaming, asking if he's not scared of the teacher. He just scoffs softly, looking totally unbothered by her warnings. He's acting all high and mighty, saying the symbol of freedom has returned. He's convinced he's perfectly hidden behind the guardian of the entire school's students. And here's the reality check. He's sitting behind a slim Shitian now, and his entire gaming setup is wide open for the teacher to see. The teacher's face at the bottom says it all. Big mistake, buddy. We get an extreme close-up on the eyes of the teacher and the gamer. The realization is hitting hard, and it's not looking good for our gaming protagonist. The panic in the back row is instantaneous. Everyone is frantically trying to hide their tutus, desks, and pets as they realize their meat shield has shrunk. It's a hilarious mess of shoving and sitting up. One blonde student looks completely dazed. He knows the cover is blown and his freestyle life is officially over. The back row has descended into a full-on cry fest. They're all boo-hooing over the loss of their perfect hiding spot, looking like their world just ended. The ballerina girl is having a total meltdown, crying out why over and over. Her dreams of dancing in class have been crushed by Shitian's new diet. We get a weird metaphorical cut to bird students chirping in a tree. They look happy and free, but we know what's coming next. 2 teachers dressed as lumberjacks decide this tree needs to go. They're patting the trunk, ready to bring the whole thing down. The bird students are panicking, chirping frantically as the saws start to buzz. Their happy little sanctuary is about to become a pile of firewood. With a doom sound, the tree falls, and with it, their last bit of freedom. One teacher wipes his brow, completely oblivious to the emotional trauma he just caused some birds. The bird students are flying away from the ruins of their freedom toward a bleak city skyline. It's the end of an era for the back row rebels. The ballerina girl is still sobbing, lamenting that this was the only place she could chase her dreams. It's dramatic, it's unnecessary, and it's exactly why we love this manhwa. Back in the actual classroom, the teacher is dealing with the fallout. The students are in total despair, and the lawless era of the back row has officially been shut down. Class is back in session, but the vibe is totally off. Everyone is staring at the back of the room like they've seen a ghost. The student in the foreground is completely lost with a question mark floating over his head. He's trying to process the absolute glow-up happening just a few desks away. It's Shitian, and he is leaning into the new look hard. He gives a casual wave, literally radiating sparkles and Prince energy that has the whole class shook. Our guy takes his seat, and the ballerina girl is already in a full-blown trance. She's staring at him with that classic starstruck fan look, completely ignoring the lesson. We get a close-up on the ballerina girl, and she is absolutely far gone. She's blushing like a beet and surrounded by hearts, thinking to herself that he is just way too handsome for his own good. Finally, it's afternoon break. The students are heading out to the balconies to gossip about the crazy transformation they just witnessed. The silver-haired bully and his sidekick are trying to stay low profile. Suddenly, someone shouts for the boss and startles the heck out of him. The blonde sidekick is freaking out, grabbing his boss's arm in a panic. He's heard that Shitian is back at school, and he's convinced they're about to be murdered. The silver-haired boss isn't doing any better, sweating and tearing up as the reality sinks in. He's losing his mind, wondering how he was supposed to know the gym would actually catch fire. The sidekick reminds him of the biggest problem. They left their locks behind at the crime scene. He's terrified that murder-training Shitian is going to hunt them down for revenge. The boss finally regains some composure and releases his sidekick's shirt. He tries to act all cool with a huff, but you can tell he's still shaken. Suddenly, his face goes completely dark, and he gets this terrifying, villainous look in his eyes. He drops the ultimate line. In that case, they kill him. The sidekick is practically vibrating with fear, saying he'd rather jump off the balcony than face an angry Shitian. The boss just gives him a cold choice: get beaten up or just die now. The boss is laying on the guilt trip, telling the sidekick that even if he bails, Shitian will still find him and smash him to death. Talk about a no-win situation. The poor blonde kid just bursts into a full-on wail of despair. He's realized there's absolutely no escape from the mess they've made. He's full-on sobbing now, wishing he'd just been a good person from the start. His boss is totally over it, yelling at him to shut up because he's already prepared. The boss explains his master plan. He thinks Shitian's liposuction transformation is actually a massive weakness. In his head, losing all that weight made the human tank vulnerable. The sidekick stops crying just long enough to let out a confused, "Huh." He's clearly not sold on the idea that a shredded Shitian is somehow weaker. The boss reminisces about the old Big Daddy Shitian, explaining that in a real fight, weight and muscle mass are king. He's convinced the new, slim version is a pushover. He thinks Shitian is currently in his weakest form, and it's the perfect time to strike. This guy's overconfidence is definitely going to backfire, isn't it? The boss commands his terrified sidekick to follow him toward a mysterious meeting. They're heading deep into the shady parts of the city. We get a look at the gritty, run-down street they're walking through. This place definitely screams underground gang meeting. They stop in front of some old shed. If you're looking for a place to plot a murder, this is apparently the top choice. The shed is actually a massive warehouse, looking totally abandoned and eerie. It's the perfect setting for a final boss reveal. They enter with a heavy shut sound, and the sidekick is already losing his nerve again. He asks his boss what on earth they're doing there. The boss just gives him a creepy, wide-eyed grin. He tells him to just watch, clearly proud of whatever backup he's called in. Check out this lineup. It's a literal montage of every brutal gangster in the area, from guys with bats to dudes with crowns. Things just got serious. The room is packed with the most violent criminals from 20 different streets. Our little student bully really pulled out all the stops for this revenge mission. The big boss of the whole place is sitting on a throne of crates, looking absolutely intimidating. The background chatter really sets the menacing mood. This is Lu Hu, the gang boss known as the Unmoving King. He's got a glowing red eye and a scar that says he doesn't take kindly to people wasting his time. Another boss, the Azure Dragon of Zhusheng Street, is casually licking his knife. He tells the student that if this meeting doesn't satisfy them, someone's going to bleed. We get a close-up on that knife-licking habit. This guy is definitely the unhinged member of the group. He's just laughing while waiting for a reason to use that blade. Our silver-haired bully is actually bowing respectfully to these lunatics. He's trying to sound professional as he explains why he gathered all these heavy hitters. He makes his big announcement. He gathered everyone to beat up Shitian together. He's really proud of himself for this one. The reaction is not what he expected. The Unmoving King is so shocked he literally falls backward off his throne of crates with a loud impact. And down he goes. The legendary gang leader just did a total slapstick faceplant off his crates. Absolute peak comedy. The Unmoving King is furious, yelling at him. He asks if staying alive isn't a better option than messing with a guy like Shitian. Turns out there's been a massive miscommunication. He yells at the student, asking why he didn't mention they were supposed to go eat hot pot instead of getting into a deathmatch. The Azure Dragon boss is actually crying now. He thought they were going to go eat crabs and even brought his own special crab-cracking knife for the occasion. Talk about a letdown.